Esa enai el heharim me'ayin yavo ezri. I lift up mine eyes unto the mountains. From whence will my help come? My help comes from God, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way. Your guardian will not slumber. See, the guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. God is your guardian. God is your protection at your right hand. By day, the sun will not strike you, nor the moon by night. God will guard you from all harm. God will guard your life, your coming and your going, now and forevermore. Let us find comfort in the words of the ancient sage. God, what are we that you are mindful of us? Or indeed, those who come after us that you take account. Our lives are as vanity, for our days pass away as a shadow. In the morning we flourish and blossom forth. In the evening we are cut down and wither. You turn us to contrition and demand, return, O ye children. If you were wise, you would consider your end. When you die, you shall carry nothing away. Your glory shall not descend after you. But trust this, God does redeem the souls of the servants. None of them who trust shall be forsaken. And the poet bids us this: let the thoughts of this moment be thoughts of tenderness and gratitude. Tenderness because of the woman in whose memory we are now gathered. Gratitude for all that has been lovable throughout the years. Tenderness toward every human frailty. Gratitude for a life known intimately and held in honor. Gratitude for strong ties of family affection. For the privilege of knowing and of sharing with one another our experiences of joy and sorrow. Gratitude for opportunities to help and care for one another, which enable us to believe that our lives do count. We would not be spared the consciousness of sorrow and loss. We pray that as our experience deepens, may our understanding of one another deepen also, and may we win from our joys and sorrows the wisdom of patience and sympathy, the courage to live faithfully, and the confidence that dark hours may have precious meanings. And may we gain a deepened sense of the value of a life well lived. Amen. Hatzor tamim po'olo ki chol drachav mishpat, el emunah ve'einav el tzadik v'yashar hu. Hatzor tamim b'chol po'al. מי יאמר לו מה תפעל? השליט במט ובמעל, ממית ומחיה, מוריד שאול ויעל. הצור תמים בכל מעשה, כי לך אדון הרחמים והסליחות. Thy work, O God, is perfect, for all thy ways are justice, a God of faithfulness and without iniquity, just and right. Who can say, what doest thou? Thou bringest death and giveth life. What mortal can demand of thee? What hast thou wrought? Thou alone, O God, dost righteously apportion both life and death. In thy hand is the destiny of all souls. Thou wilt not forget us. Thy mercy will surely abide with us. Blessed art thou, Judge of truth, who dost ordain death and summon us to life. Rick?
Well, Mom, here are we, where we are. Mike, Dan, Paul, and me. We thought it was important to read this. Mom wrote this 30-odd years ago. To our children, dear firstborn Michael, I've always loved you best because you are our first miracle. You are the genesis of a marriage and fulfillment of young love. You sustained us through the hamburger years, the first apartment furnished in early poverty, our first mode of transportation at 1967 feet, and the World Book encyclopedias we paid for over 36 months. You were new, had unused grandparents, and enough clothes for a set of triplets. You were the original model for Mom and Dad, were trying to work the bugs out. You got strained lamb and the open safety pins, fell from the bassinet, and 3-hour naps. You were the beginning. Dear second child, Daniel, I've always loved you best because you are a second miracle. Your grandmother said there will be room in your heart for each and every child. How right she was when I questioned room for a second. You were never fussy. Food was food, cheese, crackers, carrots, anything at all, just given to you with love. Your needs were always seen to, especially when you pointed and said, "Dus." You were the one who was relaxed with and realized a dog could kiss you and you wouldn't get sick. You would cross the street by yourself long before you were old enough to get married, and you helped us understand the world wouldn't collapse if you went to bed with dirty feet. The child of busy, ambitious years, without you we never could have survived the job changes, the tedium and routine that is marriage. To our baby son Richard, I've always loved you best because while endings are generally sad, you are such a joy. I would agree. You readily accepted the milk-stained bibs, the lower bunk, the cracked baseball bat, the baby book, had nothing rendered except a recipe for graham cracker pie crust that someone had jammed between the pages. You cried less, okay, and more patience and more faded hand-me-downs, and never did anything in your life first, but it only made you more special. Your hairline takes the shape of Lake Erie. She could have left that out. And your own children tower over you. You still are our baby son. To our daughter Deborah, we've always loved you best because you were a very special joy. A daughter at last, our final miracle, but alas, you never believed that. Fancy and frilly, I tried to make you, but the boys' clothes were your favorite. Tummy aches, cramped nights, holding you close to my heart, my love and my warmth passed on to you comfort. Nursery school, dance lessons, piano too, all very hard for you to do, to break the ties from Mommy. You were the one we held on to so tight. You are the link between our past, a reason for tomorrow. You grayed our hair, quickened our steps, squared our shoulders, and restored our vision, and gave us a sense of humor that security, maturity, and durability can't provide. Our joy and final miracle, may you life always be happy. To our new daughter, Paula, 30 years ago. I love you the best because you are our bonus and an unexpected plus, who has come into our family, unquestioning, accepting, and loving. Had you been born of my flesh, I could not love you anymore. God bless all of you. I do. I love you all best, Mom. Unbeknownst to us, when Mom passed away, she had actually laminated a poem that she wanted to be read. It's called The Legacy. When I die, give what is left to me to children. If you need to cry, cry for your brothers walking beside you. Put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I wanted to leave you with something. Something better than words or sounds. Look for me in people I have known and loved. And if you can't live without me, then let me live in your eyes, your mind, your acts of kindness. You can love me most by letting hands touch and let go of children that need to be free. Love does not die, people do. So when all that is left of me is love, give me away.
We are gathered in this large and intimate assembly to pay tribute and give honor to Nancy's memory. Questions inevitably come to mind at a time such as this. Questions that begin with the plaint, why? Questions that have no simple answers. We can be comforted that she is no longer in pain, that she's no longer tethered to a dialysis machine, and that her spirit is freed. We don't have answers, but we do have each other. And with our sadness, we also have shared memories. We have shared memories of Nancy, and while I had the honor of getting to know her a bit of late, I've learned much from all of you, especially Michael and Anne, and Daniel and Paula, Rick and Jill. And I know that those memories will continue to uplift your smiles and soothe your pain now that she has died. I'm sure you will share memories of Mom's Shabbat dinners, filled with the traditional foods and beautified with flowers and centerpieces at a perfectly set table. A table, by the way, that always had room for more friends and more joy. I'm sure you will share memories of Mom traveling to your homes to celebrate Hanukkah with the Horn of Plenty and the table enhancements coming with her at the ready. And memories of picking the exact right accessories for the exact right outfit for the perfect party she was to attend or to throw. And I'm sure you'll share these memories with her beloved sister, your Aunt Barbara, and with Mom's lifelong friends, those who were constant companions and who seemed to love being on the phone as much as she did. Those who supported her through the hardest days of Deborah's illness and death, who cheered her on her second and third and fourth chapters of her life as she picked herself up and found new friends, new outlets for her talents, and new meanings for her days. And those new friends at Stone Gardens and Menorah that she so graciously added to her heart. I have to tell you all about the wonderful time I spent with Nancy's family yesterday. We were gathered in the living room, almost surrounded by Nancy's plethora of accessories and jewelry and necklaces. The conversation did get heavy at times. Every life lived as well and fully as Nancy lived hers is bound to have those moments. I was sitting with the grown-ups, if you will, closer to me. We finished talking. And then this most remarkable thing happened, in addition to her great-grandchildren being adorable, which was constant. But the most remarkable thing happened. I think it was Lindsay who stood up and said something to the effect of, okay, it's our turn. And these 7 gorgeous, vivacious, sure of themselves young women took the floor. The mood lifted, smiles shone, and stories flew. I heard about trips to New York and Israel and gifts and laughs and hugs and calls between classes while walking across campus. And I got to remember Nancy's eyes when she spoke of all of you, grown-ups included. Her eyes shone. She told me how secure she felt knowing you had her best interests at heart at a time in her life when she needed that help. She told me how happy she was that you'd had many of the hard conversations adults have. And she told me how beautiful you each and all were. And that was the word she used, beautiful. I remember noticing that word, beautiful. It wasn't until this morning as I reflected on Nancy and her life that I understood just how important your being beautiful in her eyes was to her. It was everything. In a world with lots of pain and hurt, Nancy sought to create beauty with her talents and her art, with her attention to detail and precision, with her desire to uplift and to show that she cared. What she came to know, I believe, in these days, months, was that the beauty had always been there in the relationships and in the interactions that make each day a blessing. King Solomon, 2,000 years ago, left us with a phrase we use at funerals a lot. He said, Zichrono Livracha. It's a strange phrase. It means may her memory be for a blessing. A blessing. Winning the lottery, one would think, is a blessing, something material. Acquiring something new is a blessing. A memory is not a physical thing. A memory is actually rather an ephemeral thing, and a thing that changes over time. I think what King Solomon meant was that when we take the memories we have and use them, and she wrote in that beautiful letter, in that poem, to give them away and share them with others, then indeed it becomes a blessing. May it be so. Can you hear it, son? Amen. May Nancy's memory endure among us all as a blessing. In your own time, O God, when we too are called to enter eternity, may we leave this life secure in the faith that with you is the fountain of life, that in your light we shall see light. The dust returns to the earth as it was, the spirit to God who gave it. We pray, O God, you receive Nancy's soul in mercy. Grant her that everlasting peace which you have prepared for us in the world to come. Though no human eye has seen, nor ear has heard, nor mind has grasped it, still it is our sure inheritance and our everlasting portion. May I ask those of you who are able to please rise. Elmale rachamim shochein bamromim, hamsei menucha nechona tachat kanfei hashchina, im kiloshim utohorim kezohar harakia mazirim et nishmat hachavera nechama shalach, shehalcha laolama. Ba'al harachamim yasirehu b'seiter knafav laolamim, v'yitzur b'tzorcha chayim et nishmata. Adonai hu nachalata v'tanuach b'shalom ha'mishkava, v'nomar, Amen. O God, full of compassion, thou who dwellest on high, grant perfect rest unto the soul of our beloved Nancy Herman, who has departed this world. Source of mercy, bring her into your presence and let her soul be bound up in the bond of eternal life. The eternal God is her possession. May she rest in peace. And let us say, Amen. Please be seated. The sage Ben Sira teaches us this. Fear not death. We are destined to die. We share it with all who ever lived and with all who will ever be. Bewail the dead. Hide not your grief. Do not restrain your mourning. But remember that continuing sorrow is worse than death. When the dead are at rest, let their memory rest. Be consoled when the soul departs. Death is better than a life of pain, and eternal rest than constant sickness. Seek not to understand why it is too difficult for you. Search not for what is hidden from you. Be not overoccupied with what is beyond you, for you have been shown more than you can understand. As a drop of water in the sea, as a grain of sand on the shore, are a person's few days in eternity. The good things in life last for limited days, but a good name endures forever. For those who would like, would you join me please in the 23rd Psalm? The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Nancy's family would like to let you know that Shiva will be observed today upon return from the cemetery until 8 o'clock. Tomorrow from 1 to 5 and 7 to 9 at Daniel and Paula's home. On Tuesday, the family will receive from 1 to 4 and 6 to 8 at Michael and Ann's home in Solon. And at 6 p.m. at Richard and Jill's home in New Albany, Ohio, down in Columbus. To all of you who mourn Nancy's death, let there come the comfort of the hope that though the dust returns to the earth as it was, the spirit returns to God who gave it. Death is not the end. Our dear ones pass through the gateway of the grave into the peace of life that endureth always. We know that all of us must tread the same path, though we know not when the hour may strike. Let us so live that the coming of that hour shall find us unafraid. May our deeds do honor to the memory of our beloved, whom you, O God, have taken to yourself. Our closing thought here comes from Chaim Potok. We live less than the time it takes to blink an eye if we measure our lives against eternity. So it may be asked, what value is there to a human life? There is so much pain in the world. What does it mean to have to suffer so much if our lives are nothing more than the blink of an eye? I learned a long time ago that the blink of an eye in itself is nothing, but the eye that blinks, that is something. A span of life is nothing, but the person who lives the span is something. A person can fill that tiny span with meaning. Meaning is not automatically given to life. It is hard to fill one's life with meaning. But a life filled with meaning is worthy of rest.